The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT. I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, it's been a little hot minute since your boy BT has went live just to talk some boxing with no fights going on. I want to try. I will be more consistent with these lives. I've just been running around a lot, so it's been a little bit difficult to pin down times to go live. But I figured this week's about as good a time as ever to start going live again because, it's Canelo-GGG, the fight week, for the trilogy. A lot of people are, well, I don't know about a lot of people, but, it's a big fight. It's a fight that people are going to pay attention to. It's two big names, and, it's giving me a great excuse to break out the, Canelo exposed by Bviol t-shirt, So anytime we get a chance to rock this t-shirt, we're going to take it. But all jokes aside, I kind of wanted to just give my initial thoughts on the fight because I feel like Canelo Alvarez has a lot to prove this week. A lot of people are kind of wondering where he's at in his career because it wasn't so long ago that Canelo Alvarez had this aura of invincibility with a lot of people in boxing. A lot of people thought that Canelo Alvarez couldn't be beat, which I don't know why, but they thought that. And then Bivol popped that balloon. So now he goes into not just a fight, but a rivalry fight. And this is a fight where Golovkin, where I think, when you get to an older age, when a fighter gets up there in age, sometimes it's better for them to not have to make the sharp weight cuts. The less sharp weight cuts an older aging fighter can make, the better it benefits them. So I think maybe the extra weight for Golovkin, it might have him feeling a bit more fresher. It might have him feeling a bit more stronger. And we might get a very game to determine Golovkin. Now, personally, look, I think Canelo Alvarez, the hand speed, just the experience he has, the hand speed, I think, and just being a bit more fresher, I think these things are the difference in the fight. This isn't like fighting a Golovkin from 2017 or 2018. I mean, we saw in the Murata fight that the vulnerabilities there for the whole world to see. There was a lot of vulnerabilities there in the Murata fight. So I just, if anything close to that version of Golovkin comes back, then I just don't see how he's going to get over the hump against Canelo. And mind you, Canelo Alvarez still is a massive money-making attraction. I mean, this guy right here, Bivol, he had to really box a boxing clinic just to barely win on the cards. So if Golovkin goes in there and he puts on anything short of a boxing clinic, he's not getting a decision. The powers that be in boxing can ill afford Canelo Alvarez to lose twice at the expense of an older aging fighter like Golovkin, who he's not going to make the boxing industry much more money moving forward. So he's going to get the decision, if it's close, and that's what it is. But shout out to everybody here. It's your boy BT, the Untouchable True School Sports Empire. We're here, we're live. It's currently 6:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, reporting to you guys live and direct from South Florida. South Florida, stand up. Let's get us some comments. All right. He says, and this is exactly why I use this word, because listen. If I'm being unbiased, you guys say I'm biased. When I'm not hating on Canelo, you guys saying I'm hating on Canelo. So I figure people are going to say I hate on Canelo no matter what I do. So I might as well just give people what the fuck they want. I might as well just give you guys what you want. Because personally, I haven't really cared much about Canelo since he lost to Bivol. Because what I always thought was proven true, that he was never on that level. But anyway, Paul Men Hurtado says, bro, you're using the word exposed to show how biased you are towards Canelo. Show some professionalism. No. First of all, I'm rooting for Canelo. That's the one thing you're getting misconstrued. People are gonna say, "Oh well, you're hating on Canelo, you're being biased." Man, listen. This week, I don't care what you say, man. This week, man, I'm fucking Mexican this week, bro. I'm going for my boy. I'm going for Canelo this week because I'm saying Golovkin. Shout out to all the Mexicans out there. Much love to all the Mexicanos in the world. I got mad love for the Mexicans. But I'm Mexican this week. I'm Mexican this week, and I'm going for Canelo because I'm sick of Golovkin. I really am sick of his shit. I'm sick of how pretty much after the second fight, he pretty much ignored every and all credible fights. I mean, he fought Dmitry Bivol, which was a good fight early on, but after that, he pretty much ignored every and all, challenges that he could have fought. I mean, for example, I know it's been very easy to kick this guy while he's down these days because he really does deserve all the criticism in the world. But like Demetrius Andrade, all right, Demetrius Andrade was a champion at 160, the zone, everything. We never heard anything about that fight. I'm not gonna feel sorry for Andrade or go crazy about it, but I mean, the fight never happened because Golovkin has always talked about Canelo this, Canelo that. He was even suing Golden Boy Promotions recently. In March, a lawsuit came out with Golovkin suing Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy for what he says was unpaid money. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with Golovkin. I could care less if he ever boxes again. I haven't cared about him in quite some time. I'm sick of his shit, and I really, really, really would be happy if Canelo Alvarez knocked him the fuck out and got him out of boxing this week. That's my honest to God truth. So listen. Yes, I am wearing the Canelo Exposed by Bviol t-shirt because it's fun to listen. It's fun to wear this shirt. Anytime I wear this shirt, I at the gym when I wear this shirt, people go crazy. When I'm on the Boxing Voice, I had them going crazy. When I just sit here with this shirt, the Canelo fans will get upset, and I don't gotta say anything. I don't have to expend any energy talking about Canelo. People just get triggered. So. I love this shirt. I love this shirt because it just the emotion it brings out. But personally, honestly, like I don't really hate Canelo like that. But people think I do, and when I try not to hate on him, and when I try to be unbiased, and when I am unbiased about Canelo, they say I'm still being biased. They say I'm still hating. So I figured I can't win. People already have me labeled as this thing. So I said, fuck it. I'm gonna give them what they want. But I am rooting for Canelo this week. I don't really like Canelo or Golovkin, so I don't have a dog in the race, but I am going for Canelo because I like him a little bit more than Golovkin. And truth be told, it's a win-win. All right, it's a win-win for me because if Golovkin loses, then great, he's probably not going to box again and he can get out the sport. If Canelo loses, then oh my god, if y'all thought the Bivol fight was bad, let Canelo lose to an old Golovkin at 168. And we'll do Canelo Exposed by Bivol again, but this time I may have to be like more. I may have to make it Canelo and Andrade Exposed because Andrade exposed himself. I got to be fair, So I might change the channel name to Canelo and Andrade Exposed, because then so people will say I'm not being biased. Then I put Andrade in there. Let me see. Carlos Mendoza, shout out to me. Says if GGG doesn't KO Canelo within the first 4 rounds, he ain't gonna win. GGG needs a KO quick. Just go for it. Those Canelo body stats will take a toll on GGG in the later rounds. And I would agree with that. We saw in that Ryota Murata fight, Murata not really a guy that's known for body shots, but the handful of times he really planted his feet and dug down there, he had a lot of success. And while Golovkin did what he needed to do and he folded up Murata and got him out of there and became unified champion, which is a great accomplishment to do that on the road at his age. I take nothing from him. But the vulnerabilities are there to see in fighting a higher caliber fighter, a upper echelon fighter like Canelo Alvarez in a weight that you haven't really fought at. I would be led to believe that's what's gonna happen if Golovkin can't do anything early. True School Canelo hater t-shirt. LOL, you should sell them to. I actually there is a website if y'all want to buy the quote unquote as my man would say, if you want to buy the Canelo hater t-shirt, you can go right here. I'll actually give you the link. I'll give you the link. You can go buy them for yourselves. They'll be right here. Hold on. Because a lot of people like this shirt. I made this shirt as a joke, but a lot of people actually want to get Canelo Exposed by Bivol t-shirt. So listen, if you want your official Canelo Exposed by Bivol t-shirt, because I still do sell some of them. The link is right over here. So RR1000. If you want to get one, there it is right there. Michael Manning, what's good, champ? Shout out to Michael Manning, probably one of my favorite people to look. I like to look at his comments because he comments on every video. So shout out to Michael Manning. I gotta send you a shirt or something, man, because you really do support. You have a problem when Ponce can't get a visa. I was like, no, this is gonna kill me. Yeah, I'm very upset that we're not gonna get Jeremias Ponce versus Subriel Matias on the Wilder card. To me, that was the real main event on the card. That was the fight on that card. As far as excitement goes, and it's for a world title. We're gonna have to wait a little bit longer. I hope this doesn't linger, and both these guys can get their opportunity because both these guys have been grinding for a long time to get this opportunity. So I would hate to see either one of them lose the opportunity to fight for a world title. What was he exposed about that he shouldn't move up too much? No. What was exposed about him was that he can't be anybody who's in the he can't be any top A-level fighter in their prime. That's what was exposed about him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Talk to him. Talk to him, Eddie. I don't know. This is a weird fight. I don't care about that. That I'll buy classic boxing. Yeah, I mean, look, I think it. Listen, the fight, the main event itself is what it is. You know, the main event is what it is. But the card as a whole, I think, is worth talking about because there are some notable names on the undercard, like Jesse Bam Rodriguez is the co-main event. You know, Bam Rodriguez right now, for my money, he's in the running for Fighter of the Year. I don't know if this will be his last fight of 2022, but if he can get another fight in 2022, then he's going to be in the running for Fighter of the Year. So he's had a great year, a banner year, a breakout year, and it'll be good to see him on the card. He's taking on Israel Gonzalez, the former world title challenger, a guy in Israel Gonzalez who's mixed it up with some of the best names in his weight class, guys like Chocolatito, Calyafai, German Cajas. And he really should have been champion. He beat Calyafai, in my opinion, in the late 2018. Got robbed in Monaco, but this really is on paper a showcase fight for Bam Rodriguez. So we'll see how it goes. Do you got any Canelo exposed by Bivol hoodies? I need it for the winter here in Minnesota. I don't, but I can make some. So remind me soon. Yeah, it's a joke. Like honestly, it's a joke. It's really a joke. Because people always say I'm a Canelo hater, so I said, fuck it. If they think I'm a Canelo hater, I'm going to take it to the next level. We're going to make shirts, and we're going to troll everybody, and we're going to change the channel name. And I'm going to tell you guys this. I've been on YouTube a long time. I don't think I can't think of too many times where I've had more fun than like the 2 or 3 weeks after Canelo lost to Bivol, and like I changed my channel name to Canelo Exposed by Bivol. And I would make videos where I wasn't even talking about Canelo, but I'll have to say Canelo Exposed by Bivol at the beginning of all my videos because that's my channel name. And people were getting triggered by it. So it was great. I wouldn't make that. I wouldn't trade that time for any time in the world. Shout out to Uel. He said good point. Yeah, no, really, really good fighter. Like don't get it twisted. Canelo's a really, really good fighter. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame. Like I've never said he was an A-level fighter. I just, there's some things with his career I don't like, but we'll see. We'll see how the rest of his career plays out. There's still a lot of great fights out there for him. He's got to get past this one, obviously. But, there's the Benavidez fight. There's, all kinds of fights. There's the Bivol fight, which, by the way, speaking of Bivol in a serious manner, they were talking to Bivol about doing the Canelo rematch, and he pretty much said, look, I'm not worried about Canelo Alvarez. I got the Zotto fight, and I'm of the mindset that if Canelo really wants that Bivol rematch, they're going to have to pay him a lot of money. They're going to have to really do a lot to get him in the ring because he seems like he's not really too focused on fighting Canelo Alvarez because the reality is, look, Canelo is a great fighter. Canelo's a big name. Canelo brings a lot of money. But Canelo is not a light heavyweight. And I know Bivol being the competitor he is, he doesn't want to continue to beat up on a smaller fighter. He would rather – because at some point he's just not going to – he's only going to get but so much credit for it. People really, honestly and truthfully – Bivol hasn't, in my opinion, gotten the level of hype he should have been getting by beating Canelo. I mean, for Christ's sakes, Ring Magazine, like a month or two after the Canelo fight, when Bivol beat him, they put Katie Taylor on the magazine, and then on the top right-hand corner of the magazine, they actually put like in a little headline, like Bivol upsets Canelo. Like, no, he should have been on the cover. He should have been getting more notoriety, more hype, more hoopla around him. And don't get me wrong, his stock has risen and he's getting more respect, but I just don't think it's to the level it should be when you beat a guy with the name of of a Canelo Alvarez. That's just my opinion. But the white True School logo t-shirt is fire. That's the move of the card, getting Bam. Yes, sir. Bam. Listen, that was the one thing they got right. I mean, I'm excited for a lot of fights on the card. I mean, there are some really, really good fights on the card. You got Gabe Rosado versus Ali Akhmedov. Really good fight. Gabe Rosado's never in a boring fight. You got Mark Castro. You got, my favorite Matchroom USA prospect, Diego Pacheco, on the card. You got South Florida's very own, and I'm very excited to watch him fight. South Florida's very own, with one of the best nicknames, by the way. You got the Alien King, Aaron Aponte, in his 7th pro fight, trying to build his career up. So there's some things to watch in the undercard. But, yeah, Bam Rodriguez was definitely the move. I agree. I'm a Canelo fan, but I fucks the True School channel. It's just sport entertainment for me. Jeez, exactly. And honestly, look, for me, like, I love boxing. It's a massive part of my life, like a massive part of my life. But you know, at the end of the day, it's we're here to have fun. We're here to talk about the sport. I'm here to talk with you guys, get my insights. You know, educate when I can, and then also, you know, have some damn fun. Lighten up. Life's too short. Bam is the fighter of the year. He just beat 2 of the 4 kings at 115 division. Plus, he got a fight later this week. That's what I'm saying, Carlos. Like, for me, you know, the only guy that I really feel like will have a claim over Bam if he wins his next fight would be Dmitry Bivol. I mean, Bivol just beat Canelo Alvarez, and to do that in Las Vegas, we know how hard it is to get a decision against Canelo in Vegas. I mean, Floyd even got a draw on one of the scorecards in Vegas when he fought Canelo. So that shows you how hard it is to get a decision against Canelo in Vegas. And he did it against all odds with the whole boxing world writing him off, many of the boxing world writing him off, overlooking him, talking about David Benavidez and all these guys that wouldn't beat Canelo. You know, like, he did that with so much pressure on him. I mean, as the underdog, nobody gave him a chance. Nobody thought Bivol was going to be anything. Not only did he beat Canelo, he schooled him. And now you mean to tell me he's coming off that fight and he's not? Listen, this is what I love in a fighter. You mean to tell me he's not resting on his laurels? He's not like patting himself on the back and going on a victory tour, and he's fighting Gilberto Soto Ramirez, the other, you know, the defender, Gilberto Ramirez, the defender of Mexican boxing. I mean, come on, man. Dmitry Bivol is doing his damn thing. I think there's Bivol, there's Bam, and then in my opinion, there's everybody else. There really is nobody in boxing that has a claim to fighter of the year quite like those two do right now. So right now they're neck and neck, you know, and we'll see what happens. Eddie Morales says, what are your thoughts on Canelo fans calling Bivol a runner? Anybody calling Dmitry Bivol a runner needs to go watch cricket, croquet, soccer, Formula One, NASCAR. Watch anything but boxing, because Bivol is many things. Bivol is many things, but he is not a runner. The guy is a great boxer. Canelo had plenty of chances to press him, and there were times in that fight where Bivol was literally right there picking the shots off, in a really tight high guard defense, and Canelo just couldn't do nothing with him. The active high guard of Bivol, too intelligent, you know. And then when you combine that with the boxing skills, the feints, the jab, the right hand, I mean, just a really great performance by him. And I'm looking so forward to November 5th, because I like Bivol. I'm wearing his shirt right now, for Christ's sakes. But I think Zotto's gonna get him. I think this is a much different beast than Zotto. It's a strong southpaw Mexican seeking to destroy type of fighter. So and he's really a big light heavyweight. He's a guy that could probably campaign a cruiserweight if he wanted. You know what I'm saying? So I would like this fight to happen sooner rather than later. I know November the 5th can't get here soon enough. That's right. Get the likes up. That's right. Shout out to my man James Valdez. Hope all is well, champ. Brown Gone One says that he is a runner. So if you're saying Bivol is a runner, well, he did ran. He ran straight to the bank. Bivol was stepping to Canelo. Canelo's backing up. He's a fraud. Yeah, like all that stuff. But I remember everybody kept saying Bivol didn't have no punching power, and he said, yeah, you know, Bivol's not going to know what to do when Canelo hits him with that big Mexican power punch, and when push came to shove, Canelo just didn't have the answers for it. And it's funny how this live is not even about Bivol. All right, it's not even about Bivol. It's about Canelo and Golovkin. But it goes to show you that, you know, when you beat the cash cow boxing shit, you get a little bit of that hype, and people start talking about you when you beat the cash cow, quote unquote. You know, so that's what it is. That's right. San Antonio, stand up. I love San Antonio. Bivol was on PEDs. The movies predicted this about the Russians. Yeah, you're talking about Rocky. You know, listen, if he's on PEDs, it's okay, because we know Canelo's been on PEDs too. So they've all been on. Most fighters been on PEDs. I would say like more than half of the top level of boxing is on PEDs. You know how hard it is to train and do 8-9 week camps, and how hard it is to recover for these guys. It's hard going from, you know, working out 2 or 3 times a day, running up mountains, strength and conditioning, doing all this stuff. I mean, come on, man. Like sometimes I watch these guys train in the gym and I'm like, man, they probably need PEDs just to recover, not even just to get stronger, just to literally recover from the strenuous workouts they do. You know, he wants that fight at heavyweight, that wacko Zordo. Yeah, I mean, he's big enough. I mean, he'd be a smaller heavyweight, but he on fight night, when he fights Bivol, he's gonna be 200 plus pounds on fight night. So we're gonna see what it is. But you know, we'll get back to Canelo and Golovkin in a second, but I kind of wanted to touch on Conor Benn and Chris Eubank because that news just broke before I was gonna go live. And James Valdez asked the question, so it's the perfect segue to pivot into that. So James says, why did the Conor fight get canceled? So let's go on screen share. So I'm gonna show you why Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. We're gonna go to that right now. So this is what happened. This literally just came out maybe, you know, within the last, you know, 6-7 hours. So a lot's been made from the Chris Eubank Jr. side of things. If you've been following the build-up, you may have heard Chris Eubank Jr. say that he hasn't yet heard from his dad. He doesn't know if his dad wants to be part of the fight, and that he's still waiting to hear a word from his dad. Well, it looks like he got a word from his dad. It looks like his dad finally found out all the details of the fight, and it's reported right here that Chris Eubank Sr. has pulled Chris Eubank Jr. out of the fight because he doesn't like the fact that his son, Jr., has to go down to 157 pounds, which is a weight he hasn't been at since he was like a kid. So he's gonna have to kill himself to make the weight. Probably be weight drained. Anybody who knows anything about cutting weight, when you cut weight in your weight drain, you lose the fluid around your brain, right? Around your brain. And so when you get hit, if you're really, really weight drained, that your punch resistance goes down, and you're actually putting your life in danger. That's why like being weight drained is such a dangerous thing. But he said right here, Eubank Sr. said, my son's life cannot be put in danger. I've already lost one son. It can't happen again. And for those of you who know and don't know, Chris Eubank Sr.'s other son, Sebastian Eubank, just last year died from a heart attack out in Dubai, as you can see right here. So, you know, I guess he's really concerned for his son's life, and he doesn't like it. And, you know, it's crazy because ever since this happened, ever since all this took place with, Senior, there's been a lot of backlash, a lot of just things going on. So I wanted to get you guys up to speed on that if you haven't heard already. So Eubank Sr. and Nigel Benn were on a conference call, right? And I guess Nigel had asked Eubank, you know, if he's really going to pull, you know, his son out the fight. And to that, Chris Eubank Sr. said, yeah, the fight's not happening. Absolutely, I'm pulling him out. So that's what it is. You know, the sheriff is stepping in, and he's saying, no, there will not be no legacy defining fight. There will not be no fight on October the 8th. So, you know, make sure you guys don't, you know, change your plans if you had any plans that day to watch this fight, because it's not happening, according to Chris Eubank Sr. Now, Conor Benn reacted to this. He was doing some rounds today down there in the UK with Felix Cash. Shout out to Felix Cash, his stablemate, trained by the great Tony Sims, one of the best trainers in boxing. But he said this right here: I just sparred 10 rounds while someone's having daddy issues. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Chris Eubank or Conor Benn is taking the piss. He's gonna completely talk hella shit, as he should. And you know, Billy Joe Saunders, former Chris Eubank Jr. opponent, who Billy Joe Saunders gave Chris Eubank Jr. his first loss when they fought when they were young. Here's what he said right here. He said, Benn is giving age, experience, and weight away. So if Eubank can't be disciplined to lose the extra few pounds, he should have not wasted everybody's time. It's simple. Get the weight made and get in the ring and fight. That's what it is. So Billy Joe Saunders is not trying to hear it from Chris Eubank. This is a Chris Eubank Jr. that just last year when Billy Joe Saunders got knocked out against Canelo Alvarez, you know, he was posting the fact that he made bets against him and completely making fun of him. So now this is Billy Joe Saunders' chance to kind of, you know, get back at him. And listen, I agree with Billy Joe. Billy Joe's talking sense here. I know Billy Joe's probably not going to box again. And he's really loving that Canelo money, and he's gotten really, really fat. And listen, enjoy your life. Be happy. You know, cutting weight for all these years that fighters have to cut weight for these fights is difficult. So, enjoy life after boxing. But he's right. It's better that he would have just not made the fight happen and, got people excited. Because, look, I didn't want to see this fight. But then when it got made, I saw the reaction from the British fight fans, then I was like, okay, this really is a big fight. This isn't no spectacle like you think. This is a really, really big fight. And I got excited about it. But now we got this, and now it's just like, I don't really want to wait to watch Benn versus Eubank. I'd rather, Eubank try to go chase a title at 160, which is what he should be doing. Because 160 is one of the weakest divisions in boxing. It's one of the biggest disgraces in boxing, the 160 division. So he should be trying to chase a world title there. And I want to see Conor Benn, fight some guys at welterweight. I would love to see Conor Benn fight Virgil Ortiz. That's a great fight. Conor Benn versus Keith Thurman. These are great fights. There's great fights out there for Conor Benn at the welterweight division. So I would like these fights, but money talks and bullshit walks, and this would have been a big momentous occasion. But Eubank Sr.'s not having any of it. And Conor Benn again. Conor Benn's on his verbal assault. He said that Chris Eubank Jr. has been grounded, so that's where we're at. That's why it's not happening. And y'all can leave your thoughts down below. I'm sure many of you have already. He said, RR1000 said, boxing cancellation is starting to be very contagious. It is. Ever since COVID became a thing, it's always been a thing. It's going more and more rampant. But I don't understand why this fight would be canceled, because this is a fight that was a big deal. This fight was going to sell itself 5 times over. This fight would have been like one of the biggest fights in the history of British boxing. So it is what it is. And Eddie says Eubank should have accepted the Andrade challenge. And you know what? Listen, I've had a lot to say about Demetrius Andrade. He's got his fight with Zach Parker supposedly coming up. But I'm going to say this. Now that Eubank isn't fighting Conor Benn, this is where I feel like Andrade should try to maybe make that fight happen if the Parker fight isn't already signed, because that would be a better fight for him, and now it's back in play. You see that face off from the press yesterday. Isn't that old news? His dad don't want the fight. Nah, it just came out today. Eubank is ducking. Eubank is ducking Conor Benn. Ain't that crazy? Well, I hope Conor Benn can move back down to welterweight, because he's been looking absolutely ridiculous in these videos, all blown up like a steroided up juice head. Like he looks like these steroided juice heads I see when I go to LA Fitness up the street. These guys at the gym that have like 8 dumbbells around them, and they're all big and muscle bound, and they got the fucking veins popping out, and they feel like they're gonna explode. That's what he looks like right now, and I don't like the way his body looks at 150 plus pounds. So I would like to see him just take this fight, crumble it up in a paper ball, throw it in the trash can, and let's get back to what these guys should be doing. Eubank should be worried about chasing a world title at 160. I've been told by his own trainer earlier this year, Roy Jones, that he doesn't want to fight, that the Andrade fight isn't an option. Andrade supposedly fighting Zach Parker now, going to 168, because he doesn't have a belt no more. He's not even at middleweight anymore, so technically he can't even fight Andrade. So I mean, yeah, like now everything's all fucked up. Everything's all messed up now. Carlos says Bivol beats Beterbiev. Beterbiev is hitting 38, plus he gets injured too often. No wonder Bob Arum doesn't want to make the fight. I don't know about that one. I don't care. Honestly, Beterbiev's an exception to age, honestly. He's getting better with time. Like, yeah, he gets injured a lot, but them injuries once he gets in the rings and he climbs through those ropes, they've never really shown themselves to be a factor or a problem for him. He's always shown himself to be of exceptional quality in the ring. So I don't know about that one. Like I feel like even though Bivol beat Canelo, I still feel like Beterbiev is the best light heavyweight in the world, and we're not going to really settle that dispute until those two fight each other. But it seems like those two won't fight each other because they got mandatories they got to take care of and all this nonsense. And Bob Arum saying that the fight needs to happen here. Eddie Hearn saying the fight needs to happen there. So I don't know. It doesn't seem like a fight that's happening anytime soon. The new fanboy narrative is Bivol knows he only won because Canelo got tired. They can't take an L. Is that what they're saying now? G Funky, shout out to G Funky. Is that what they're saying now? See, I don't pay attention to what the fools say because you can only give fools, idiots, so much of your attention. My attention is very valuable these days. So he only won because he knew Canelo got tired. So he knew Canelo had a weakness and he exploited it. So how is that any different than Canelo Alvarez knew that Amir Khan had no chin at welterweight, so he decided to fight 155? How is it any different than Canelo fighting, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who we know he would beat? He's fought plenty of guys who he knew had weaknesses and beat them. But I never heard the Canelo fanboys say anything for that. So let's keep things consistent here. Why doesn't Ben call out the Styonus? He's scared of the Lithuanian monster. He fears Styonus. Truth be told, Conor Benn is being groomed to become the next golden boy of British boxing. Anthony Joshua can only box but for so long, so Eddie Hearn has to already start preparing for life after Anthony Joshua. And Conor Benn is one of those guys that he's trying to groom into being a star over there. Styonus is not a big money fight. It's a fight that he could lose, and it's a fight that even if he wins, he'll take some damage. And so I don't see why they'll take that fight right now. But as a boxing fan, I think that's a fight they should look into. I think that's a fight that they should, be looking at making happen. We say, yep, Canelo fans are calling Bivol overrated because he couldn't stop a gas Canelo. But Bivol doesn't stop anybody. Bivol has literally not stopped anybody since he fought Sullivan Barrera in 2018. And you know what? That's because Bivol doesn't want to stop anybody. Bivol is so good as a technical and pure boxer that he's never really beat anybody with his A game. He's beaten everybody with his B and his C game, but never his A game. He's never had an opponent that has had to make him dig all the way into his skill set and make him have to sit on his punches and knock people out. Because he does have power. He does have respectable pop. You can't just run up on Bivol and think it's sweet. Because if that was the case, then you'd be a lot of guys would be pressing him a lot more, and that's not the case. So it is what it is. But so far as Golovkin versus Canelo 3 is concerned, it's just crazy how one fight can change the perception of the next fight. Like, for example, when Canelo first signed this deal with DAZN, I remember I got really pissed off because I was like, man, there's no way in hell Bivol won't get robbed and he'll get a fair shake against Canelo because of this Canelo Golovkin 3 fight. But then he barely got a decision. Thank God he got the decision, and I was almost right, but he got the decision. And now this is kind of like a fight that's kind of like an emergency plan for Canelo. It's a fight where it's going to generate a lot of money with the casuals. I'm not sure what the ticket sales are like. I've heard all kinds of things, but you never really know unless you're actually in Vegas for the fights. That's one thing I learned about boxing and going to fights, because people always there's a lot of people in the YouTube boxing community that always talk about what the arenas are like and what, which fighter is selling tickets and who's not selling tickets. And they don't even go to fights. They haven't gone to no fights. Now, I don't go to every fight, but I've gone to quite a lot of fights over the last 7 years. Particularly in the last 2 years and some change, I've been going to a lot of fights in Vegas and California and Texas and New York and all across the U.S. of A. Obviously here in South Florida. So I know which fighters can sell and which fighters can't. Canelo Alvarez can definitely sell. That's one thing about Canelo he's gonna do, because he's got the Mexican fan base in the Cobra Clutch. Mexican boxing fans love to go out and have a good time, have a night out, and Canelo Alvarez fight is one of the best events to do that at, straight up. So I don't know what to expect. I feel like this fight is going to sell well. Will it sell all the way out? I'm not so sure, because I was told by people that I know that went to the Bivol fight that fight wasn't even all the way sold out. So if that fight wasn't all the way sold out, why would this one be coming off of a loss? Just because it's Golovkin? I mean, the buzz just isn't there, but we'll see. I don't want the event to flop. I want boxing to prosper, so I would like this event to sell out and do 1 million buys and for boxing to do well, but I don't see it. Let me see. Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn Davis, September 23rd on ESPN. Yes, so that's the following week. You know, Shakur Stevenson's taking on Robinson Conceição, a guy that, you know, I would say is definitely the best technical boxer he's ever fought in his career. You know, Shakur Stevenson's beat a lot of pressure fighters, a lot of guys who like to come forward, but he hasn't really boxed many, you know, elite boxers. You know, his best wins against guys are against guys like Joel Gonzalez, Pitufo Diaz, Oscar Valdez, you know, Jamel Herring. These guys are all either mainly pressure fighters, or they're not elite boxers. I would say Robinson Conceição is the first, like, truthfully technical elite boxer he's fought. So I'm intrigued to see him with that. And as far as Keyshawn Davis is concerned, listen, he's been running his mouth a lot about a lot of things in boxing. He recently went on the Boxing Voice, and he was talking about how, you know, Ryan Garcia is overrated, and Ryan Garcia is a C-class fighter, and how Ryan Garcia sucks. And my thing is this, man, like, I'm getting to a point where I'm actually beginning to become a Ryan Garcia fan, because I know he's easy to, like, make fun of because of the cringeworthy things he does on social media. But a lot of people do hate on Ryan Garcia so much so to the point that they're not even fair when they judge his boxing skills. Ryan Garcia is a top shelf fighter. He has great talent. And everything we've seen from Ryan Garcia so far in his career has only been, he hasn't even really put things together yet. He's still figuring things out in the ring. But that power is real. The left hook is real. He's a 5'10" lightweight. My thing is this: if Keyshawn Davis wants to make the fight happen, I'm sure Bob Arum and Oscar could come to an agreement. Why don't he go to the Bob father? Why don't he go to his office and annoy the fuck out of him for that fight? And I bet you Bob will make it happen for him. And then we'll see if Ryan Garcia is a C-class fighter. I'd love to see that fight. I'd love to see Keyshawn back up his words, because truth be told, Keyshawn Davis. For me, I like Keyshawn. I think he's very talented. I actually think right now you could actually say he's already a top 15 lightweight, because I think he's that talented. But with Keyshawn Davis, to me, when I look at him, he's pretty much Shakur Stevenson without the accomplishments. And what I mean by that is he's got all the same hype, he's got all the same hoopla, but he hasn't accomplished fuck all compared to Shakur. But he runs his mouth a lot about, you know, this, that, and the third. So my thing is this: he needs to start coming out and showing and proving, because you know, I just don't like the fact that he's talking down on Ryan Garcia. And if you feel that type of way, then I want you to get as loud as possible, get as loud as humanly possible, badger your promoter, and make that fight happen. Because if not, then you're just capping. You're just capping. That's all it is. It's just capping. You know. One thing that really put me off about Keyshawn Davis, you know, because he is very similar to Shakur Stevenson. Like, Shakur Stevenson lost in the gold medal match to a Cuban, Robeisy Ramirez. Keyshawn Davis lost in the gold medal match to a Cuban, Andy Cruz. So they both lost in the Olympics in the gold medal match. They both were awarded a silver medal in the Olympics, despite both being favorites to win gold, you know. But the difference between him and Shakur Stevenson is the way they responded to the loss. When Shakur Stevenson lost the gold medal match, he was really, like, distraught. Finishing in second place was the worst thing ever to him. He felt like a loser. It ate him up inside, you know. And that was the moment I knew Shakur Stevenson was going to be special. That was the moment I knew for a fact Shakur Stevenson was going to go on to the pros and become the fighter he's on. You know, he became and is still on his way to ultimately becoming, you know, 2-division champion. You know, top shelf skills, you know, all those things. But then when Keyshawn Davis lost to Andy Cruz, you know what he said? He said, "Oh, I'm off to bigger and better things." So when, you know, that tells you everything right there. You know, I'm off to bigger and better things. What could possibly be better than winning a gold medal for your country? Nothing could. You know, in my opinion, that's the best thing you can do. So for me, I like Keyshawn, but the jury's still out. Oscar won't take that fight. It doesn't make cash sense. It doesn't. But if Keyshawn Davis feels so strongly about Ryan Garcia, I want to see him get more vocal about that fight. Start getting people to not like you. Start getting people to Google your name up more. Attaching it to Ryan Garcia. If you really feel that strongly, If you really feel Ryan Garcia is a hype job and you would do this to him and you would do that to him, then shut the fuck, get louder, keep performing great, and try to make that fight happen. Because I'm sick of these fighters. I'm sick of these fighters in boxing. I'm really getting to the point in boxing. These fighters calling each other out, saying they would do this, saying they would do that, saying what they are, and they've done fuck all in the ring. They've done nothing. They've done nothing. Haven't won a world title, haven't defended the world title, haven't scaled any weight classes, done literally nothing. So that's why I'm talking how I'm talking. Shout out to my man David Easter. He says, if you want my honest opinion, I feel like GGG don't really owe these dudes anything because none of them have done anything. Andrade and Charlo. Yeah, but okay, I get where you're coming from, and I would agree with you. As an Andrade fan, I like Andrade, even though he's on some coward shit right now with the Johnny Vick situation. I agree with you. But there was he fought Canelo. The rematch was in like September of 2018. We're now in September of 2022. So we're basically 4 years removed from that fight. He had like 2 or 3 years in between that to fight either Andrade or Charlo. Andrade would have probably been the most realistic because he was his own fighter, and we never saw any urgency from him. Instead, what he did was the opposite. He had one really good fight with Bviol, which I give him credit for, but then after that, Steve Rolls, Kamil Schmerta. I mean, come on, man. If he didn't fight the Kamil Schmertas and the Steve Rolls of the world, then I would say, okay, you know what? You got a point. But people want to criticize Andrade's resume, which they can if they want. Anybody can criticize any resume. But the Liam Williams and Luke Keeler and these guys that people always like to put Andrade down for fighting are much, much better than Kamil Schmerta and Steve Rolls. That is facts. So it's not about him owing anybody anything, but like he's done nothing. So he's done almost nothing since the Canelo fight. Literally nothing. Those guys haven't done really anything either, except defend their belts against guys they're supposed to beat. But he should have showed the urge. He should have said, you know what? Okay, Canelo's not here. I'm gonna show the world that I'm the kingpin at 160. That he got lucky. I'm gonna show them. I'm gonna show the world by beating up on Andrade, by beating up on Charlo. I'm gonna reestablish my dominance in the weight class. That's what the greats would have did. People used to have the audacity to compare Golovkin to Marvin Hagler. Get the fuck out of here. GGG is many things. Marvin Hagler, he'll never be. Marvin Hagler had to wait like damn near 50 fights to get a world title shot. And while he was doing that, he was fighting all the biggest, baddest contenders that the world had to offer. And, Golovkin had a chance to kind of go on a little bit of a second reign there. Yeah, in my opinion, he missed out on a unique opportunity after that fight with Bviol because he got a win in a close fight against Bviol. And I think that would have been the perfect springboard to go on a second middleweight reign and really show the world your greatness. But instead, he got complacent and he fought a guy in Steve Rolls who had never even fought in like a 12-rounder or even a 10-rounder before Golovkin fought him. So I don't want to hear about he doesn't owe these guys anything. Canelo don't owe him. That's right. Dennis Hogan. That's right. The real WBO 154 champion. That's right. Shout out to Dennis Hogan, who beat up on Munguia a couple years ago. Floyd reacted the same as Shakur in the Olympics. Exactly. And that just goes to show you, when you look at Shakur, when you look at Floyd, these guys have the mindset. It's the mindset that sets them apart. Yes, they're great boxers. Yes, they're absolutely sublime and they have such great IQs for the sport. But man, it's that mindset. It's that I can't be second attitude. It's that failure is not an option type mentality that separates these guys. It's what makes them creme de la creme, top shelf, not just for a fight, not just for a season, but for an entire career. So, absolutely. Carlos Mendoza says Chocolatito versus Ioka is the biggest fight in the 115 division. After the Estrada's last performance, I got Chocolatito winning the trilogy. Make the Ioka fight next. I haven't actually watched the Guy Estrada fight. I know my dad went live for it. I heard it was a tough fight for him. But I actually would rather much. I feel like that fight too, just like this one, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. Like, we know Chocolatito is better than Guile. In my most people think that Chocolatito won both fights. And at bare minimum, most people thought he won the last fight. Gallo Estrada doesn't really have any momentum behind him right now. Neither does Chocolatito. They both have lost a lot of momentum due to like inactivity and things like that. So it feels unnecessary. This fight should have happened like in the middle or the latter part of last year. And now we're going to get it at the very end of this year. So it's just like the timing of it is bad. I feel like Ioka has been having really good, consistent performances. And he's been showing the world that, you know, he is one of the best 150 pounders out there. That's the fight. And I texted Chocolatito's manager myself, Carlos Blandon, who I've interviewed here on the channel before, who's very familiar with my work. I texted Carlos. I told him, I said, hey man, like, why is this fight happening? I'd rather see Kazuto Ioka. And then I got no response from him, but you know, I did text that to him. So it's like, you know, I'll get excited about it when the fight comes along. I'll probably even be at the fight, but I'm not really the most excited about it right now. I think Jaime Munguia will give Triple G a good fight, but will lose. I think that's the direction that GG will go if he beats Canelo, since Munguia wants to fight him so bad. Well, I know Golden Boy. I know from previous conversations I've had with Golden Boy matchmaker Roberto Diaz that's a fight that Golden Boy Promotions really wants. They want the Golovkin fight. Obviously, it makes a lot of sense with Munguia being Mexican and being a decent ticket seller in California. Golovkin is an attraction like no other in California. So you put those two together. If you put those two together in an LA fight, that's gonna do big numbers. It's gonna be a big event, and it'll be a good fight. So you know, I agree with you. Yeah, it's that Kobe Bryant mindset. Yes, you know that untouchable mindset. That's that untouchable true school sports mindset. You know, and you can't teach those things. You either have it or you don't. Silver, what's good, champ? Hope all is well. Let me see. People put Ioka on the pound for pound list. He should be. I think Ioka has legitimate claim to be on the pound for pound list. He's fighting a lot more than a lot of your favorite fighters. He's beating better fighters than a lot more of your favorite fighters. And a lot of the top guys around his weight class don't really seem too eager to fight him. And if they do, their management's failing them by not making the fights happen. Hey, Susan, what's good, champ? Good to see you. Hope all is well. Looking forward to the ladies' fight Saturday, but something always happens. Yeah, and I really feel like it's unfortunate because boxing has been building up so much to the point to get a all-female card that people were going to get excited about. This was a card that was well promoted. I thought Boxer and Ben Shalom did a great job promoting it. I thought Clarissa Shields, Michaela Mayer, Alicia Baumgartner, and Savannah Marshall all did an exceptional job promoting the fight. People were excited about this fight. People who don't even like women's boxing were going to tune into this fight. And to let something that has nothing to do with boxing get in the way of it, like the British government is forcing all of British society to have to mourn the loss of the Queen. Now, all respect to the Queen. I'm not here to disrespect, but people have lives. They have, you know, money to make, things to accomplish, and the world doesn't stop for anybody. You know, it really doesn't. You know, and the American fighters like Clarissa Shields and Michaela Mayer, I know they're not going to say it, so I'll say it for them. They don't know about any of that shit. They don't give a fuck about the Queen. I mean, they don't give a fuck about the Queen. Like, she died. It's unfortunate, but like, they just want to fight. So why should their careers and the careers of all the other fighters on the undercard who work so hard to stay on weight, to get ready for the fight, be put on hold because of something that has nothing to do with boxing? That's like, you know, I actually feel like it would have been better for British society in general to mourn the loss of the Queen by singing God Save the Queen at an all-women's card. But I guess that just makes too much sense, and the British government disagrees, you know? Rico Ramsey says, BT, what's up? Boxing been disappointment with me lately. I damn near forgot about this weekend. Well, listen, boxing goes in cycles. I've been covering boxing here on YouTube for a long time, and I've been a boxing fan even longer than that. And this always happens, like from like June to like, you know, early September. There's always that dull period where you kind of just like, there's good fights, but you know, you're still waiting for the big ones to happen, and they haven't quite happened yet. And then normally around like mid to late September, boxing picks up, and then from there on out, it's a strong finish to the year. And this year will be no different. Don't worry, don't panic, do not fret. You're gonna get your big fights as the year progresses. I can't believe Ryan Valenzuela lost. I know Vargas was washed, but Pitbull Cruz couldn't get him out of there. It goes to show you that Valenzuela has no chin. Yeah, I mean, listen, Ryan Valenzuela, I like him. I think he's still a good fighter, but he was being talked about by a lot of people, as the guy to beat Tank and the guy to do this and the guy to do that. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I wasn't surprised because I didn't know who Edwin De Los Santos was coming into the fight. But this is why this is why you guys always hear me say when a fighter has a fight signed to stop talking about other fights that had nothing to do with them right now, because in life and in boxing, you got to focus on what's in front of you. You can't look ahead, because you start looking ahead and you get knocked the fuck out. So that's on him. He was doing a lot of talking about Isaac Cruz and all these guys, and that's still a good fight for the future, but he didn't focus on what he needed to focus on, and he had a very dangerous, determined guy in front of him, and that guy punched like 5 holes through him and exposed him. Munguia wants GGG, but ducked the smoke with Boo Boo. What a surprise! I mean, listen, he did duck Boo Boo. He's been ducking Boo Boo, but you know what? Boo Boo's ducking Johnny Beck. So you know what? I guess things have a way of evening themselves out. You know what? I like Andre, but I'm not driving that train from no more. The Johnny Beck shit. The second time is where he lost me. So he needs to do a lot to get back into my good graces. To be honest with you, that's what I'm saying. No, so many people died that same day, and they didn't mourn them. Like if Savannah Marshall would have got stabbed to death in the middle of London during the fight week, the Queen wasn't going to stop and mourn for Savannah Marshall. And that's just what it is. Like, I understand she's the Queen and, British royalty and the monarchy and all that, all that happy horse shit. But listen, man, like, at the end of the day, we're all people. Like, we all bleed red. We're all going to go into a casket. Queen Elizabeth is royalty, so her casket is probably going to be bigger than mine and yours, but we're all going to go into a casket at some point. So it's like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. I think it's getting more run than I imagined in the big weekend coming up. What is Johnny Beck is pulling on Jamal's skirt? Man, Jamal Charlo, he's basically semi-retired at this point. He hasn't boxed since last June. Well, it's September now, so you're talking about what, 15 months out the ring already. If he goes the whole year, then you're talking about what, an 18-month layoff. An 18-month layoff for Jamal Charlo if he goes the whole year. I don't know what he's doing. Rico wants to know what are GGG's chances of winning this fight with Canelo. I mean, I give GGG a 40% chance. I feel like, and I give him that chance because he's still a very good fighter. He's still very experienced. I think the fact that the fight is at 168, although it's weight he's never campaigned at, it could be a benefit to him because when you're an older fighter, sometimes not having to make that weight cut and fighting with some extra weight on you will have the older aging fighter feeling more like fresh and stronger. So I feel like that could really be good for Golovkin, but ultimately I still don't think it'll matter. I don't think that he'll still. I don't think he's beating Canelo, and that's what it is. I'm picking Canelo by decision. I hope Canelo knocks him out though. Honestly, I want everyone here who, like the dude earlier in the live who was saying, he was like, there was a guy earlier in the live who got in the comment section and he was like, why can't you be professional? Why can't True School being professional? This guy, True School Canelo hater, For all you guys out there who are going to accuse me of being a Canelo hater the whole week, because I'm going to talk my shit, and I'm going to troll, and I'm going to mention Dmitry. I'm going to mention Dmitry Bivol like 50 million times this week, exposing Canelo. Just know I am going for Canelo Alvarez. I want Canelo Alvarez to win. This is probably the first and the last time this will ever happen. I want Canelo Alvarez to knock Golovkin out and beat him. Let me see. We got my man right here. Velocity Cuts says Showtime Sports executives want Jamal Charlo out of his contract. Well, good. Jamal Charlo has completely regressed as a fighter at 160. And truth be told, with all the things that have been going on in his personal life, it sounds like he's got much, much bigger problems than fighting at 160. You know, he needs to worry about what's going on in his personal life and take care of that. You know, take care of his house, because it feels like boxing isn't really the first thing on his mind right now, and it shouldn't be. GGG's chances are good if he stays on the outside. I'm not saying he can fight on the back foot, but if GGG can keep him off with a good lead hand, we might see an upset. I hope so. Listen, I'm good either way. If Canelo knocks out Golovkin or Golovkin beats Canelo, I'm good either way. I don't like either of them, so I'm good either way. But I just don't know. I don't. The one thing that Golovkin lacks that Bivol had is I don't think he has the feints. You know, the package of feints that Bivol has are some of the best in boxing, and because of his feints, he's able to break the rhythm of a lot of opponents. Golovkin doesn't have feints that are as good as or as effective as what Bivol has. So I think he's a little bit more easier to counter for Canelo, and that makes Canelo obviously more difficult for Golovkin. But if he can do that, then he's got a chance. But that's a big if. Jamel Cancel is a knucklehead that doesn't want elite fights. Yeah, ducking Andre. At least GGG never popped for roids. Yeah, but who knows? This doesn't mean he wasn't on them. There's a lot of guys in boxing who are on steroids that have not, like it hasn't been reported to the public. Like there's guys I know, big names, big multi-million-dollar fighters, guys that are signed to PBC, guys signed to Matchroom, Golden Boy, that I know for a fact are on PEDs. And it just hasn't been reported to the public. So it's all bullshit. This third Canelo fight is still huge. I mean, we'll see. I mean, for me, it doesn't really quite have that big fight feel just yet. Maybe when the fight week starts and the press conferences start, it'll start to feel a little bit like it. But right now, for me, it don't feel nothing like no big fight. It just feels like a cash grab that was contractually obligated from DAZN and Matchroom. But listen, in life, it's not about if you get exposed. It's about what happens when you get exposed. How do you respond? We'll see how Canelo responds. That's the intriguing thing, is seeing how Canelo responds to getting exposed by Bivol. Let me see. Oh, okay. Oh, it's been a while since we had one of these. So shout out to my man Metal Hendricks with a $4.99 super chat. You guys know the drill. When the super chats come out, so does Don King. So Don King, go ahead and talk to him.
Hey everybody, let's have some fun. You don't live but once, and when you're dead, you're done. So let the good times roll. It don't matter whether you're young or old. Let the good times roll.
We will here on True School Sports. Now, Metal Hendrick asked, even though we all know Canelo is going to win, what will be the best outcome for boxing in general? Solid educational boxing stream. And thank you, Metal Hendrick, for the super chat, and thank you for the kind words towards the end of your comment. As far as the best outcome for boxing in general, I think what will be the best outcome, irrespective of who wins, is I would like a fight of the year candidate type of a fight. The one of the main speaking points that they keep using to justify this fight happening was that it's such an exciting fight. It's this great, exciting rivalry, right? So my thing is, this just can't be a good fight. It can't just be a good, solid chess match. This fight has to be a fight where someone gets knocked the fuck out, or maybe both guys trade knockdowns. Like, I'm looking for an all-action fight. Anything less than an all-action fight to me would be a disappointment. And for such a pointless third fight, I really think we need a fight of the year candidate type of a fight. That would be what's best for boxing, because there are going to be a lot of casual fans tuned into this one. So I feel like this is a great opportunity for boxing to really, really get a W this weekend if both guys can go in there and deliver. Personally, I would like to see Canelo get knocked the hell out. I mean, if Canelo got knocked out, that'd be great. If Golovkin gets knocked out, that's great. But all in all, the best outcome of Metal Hendricks is a fight of the year candidate type of a fight. That's what we need. And I hope I answered your question as best as I could. Thank you for the super chat. I got faith that the stars will align for Crawford versus Spence. Listen, man, a lot of people have been asking me, BT, when is Crawford Spence going to get announced? And like I told you guys, I have no clue when Crawford Spence is going to get announced. And truth be told, I still think it will happen, and I'm sticking to my guns that it's going to happen. But man, I'm getting less and less confident that it's going to happen by the day. So I would like them to announce it sooner rather than later, because with each passing day, I'm starting to think like maybe it's not happening. Maybe they are going to make the Thurman fight. I don't know, but I'm sticking to my guns. True School Sports, is Diego Pacheco the next one on the Benavidez team to get exposed? Oh man, I hope not. That's the one guy in the Benavidez camp that I don't want to get exposed. I like Diego Pacheco. He's a friend of mine, like a good friend of mine. We talk on Instagram a couple times a month. He's actually, fun fact about Diego Pacheco, he's probably one of the 4 or 5 boxers that I have on my close friend story on Instagram. So I like Diego. Cool guy. Got a lot of time for him. I've always thought, going all the way back to 2018, 2019, that he was the best prospect Eddie Hearn had in the Matchroom Boxing USA stable. And now he's getting to that point where now he's no longer a prospect. Now he's getting closer and closer to becoming a contender. And I don't think he'll be exposed. I think Diego Pacheco is a really good fighter. He understands that he's a bigger fighter. A lot of times with taller fighters, they're big, but they're not long. They can fight big, but they don't fight long. Like, for example, Diego Pacheco, he's a guy that knows how to fight long. He's a guy that knows how to use and exploit that size advantage he has in his weight class to his advantage on 168. And this is a guy that every promoter in boxing, before he turned pro, every promoter in boxing wanted him. Bob Arum wanted him. Eddie Hearn wanted him. Everybody wanted him. He was the number 1 ranked Mexican amateur boxer in his weight class, and he was the number 1 ranked USA boxer ranked in his weight class as an amateur. Simultaneously, he was creme de la creme, top shelf. So I'm not gonna say he won't get exposed, because you never know what a young fighter. But I would say, out of everybody in the Benavidez team, he's the guy that I would say is least likely to get exposed. That's my honest opinion. For that fight, it's 4 years too late. Talk about Crawford and Spence, man. Honestly, at this point, obviously I think PBC and Al Heyman are a lot to blame for the fight. But fuck, honestly, I'm getting back to where I was in June. Like, I'm pretty much getting back to where I was in June. Like, in June or in July, I was like, yo, fuck both these dudes. They're both divas. Then, like, people started passing information to me in the boxing world. And then I was like, okay, well, now I think it's kind of more on PBC than it is on Crawford. Now it's like, I'm just back to where I was before. Fuck this fight. Honestly, that's where I'm at. Like, make the damn fight happen. Or don't make the fight happen. But do something. Like, do something. Pacheco versus David Morrell Jr. is a good future scrap. It is. I like that fight. Absolutely. I like David Morrell. I think David Morrell versus Christian and Billy is also a good fight. A lot of people have been asking me, BT, what do you think about this kid Christian and Billy out there in Canada? And I didn't know who he was until you guys really started badgering me about him. So I took some time the other night to watch Christian and Billy, and I'm a fan. Like, I'm a fan of the guy. I don't care if he wins a world title. I just want to watch him fight, because he comes – the way he fights, he's explosive, he's athletic, and he comes to put people on that dialysis bag. He comes to punch a hole straight through the target, and I like that. I like him. Hyro says, BT, Atif Overton is that nigga like Paul Williams to me, the best prospect I carry for October the 1st. It's about time. It's about damn time you woke up to Atif Overton. Atif Overton is the best. He's the best prospect Al Heyman has for me. I would love to see Atif Overton start to get more shine. I think PBC has been doing him a disservice by making him fight on the untelevised portion of these cards. They need to get him on the televised portion of undercard so people can see what I'm seeing about him. Big, tall, strong, southpaw, 6 foot, was it was it 6'3" light heavyweight, punch and power in both hands, can fight mid-range, outside, can box, can punch, can slug. You know, probably my favorite fighter from Philadelphia right now, if I'm being honest with you. Love Latif Overton. What's going on? It's your boy H Money. What's good, champ? Everyone go subscribe to my man H Money, doing his thing, pounding the pavement, covering you guys, covering boxing. You know, me and him had a good little interaction the other day on Instagram. He said Arslanbek Makhmudov, the next George Foreman, he will terrorize the heavyweight division. That's right. Hey, Arslanbek Makhmudov, the next George Foreman. Filip Hrgović, the next Vitaly Klitschko. Joe Joyce. Who's Joe Joyce? I don't know who Joe Joyce is. H Money. Who's Joe Joyce? Which fighter would you compare to Joe Joyce? But yeah, Arslanbek Makhmudov, he's big, he's powerful, he can punch hard, he's angry, and he's ugly as fuck. So that's a dangerous combination. That's a real dangerous combination for Arslanbek Makhmudov. Gonna be a hard guy to be a heavyweight. Michelle Rivera versus Edwin De Los Santos. Who you got? I would go with Michelle Rivera, but I don't think they're gonna fight each other. I talked to Michelle Rivera the night that Edwin De Los Santos beat Raul Valenzuela in LA, and pretty much what he told me is he was really happy for him. He could barely talk because he was so excited for his countrymen that he had won a fight on short notice as the B side. So I don't know how realistic that fight is, but be a good scrap. Polo says you should chill out. Philip needs to prove more. I don't need to chill out. I've always been high on Filip Hrgović. You can literally go all the way back to 2019, the first video I ever did about Filip Hrgović. He's always been out of the three guys in the Olympics, the guys like Yoka, the guys that medaled from that Olympics, Yoka, Joyce, and Hrgović. I always said that the guy on the highest on was Hrgović. And people are using the Zhang Zhilei fight to put Hrgović down. And it wasn't the performance that I wanted to get from him, honestly. But it was a performance it was a fight that I think he needed, because he hadn't really had any resistance in his career. He fought a determined, strong, southpaw, undefeated heavyweight in Zhang Zhilei. And the fight didn't look that great the first time I watched it. But when I rewatched it again, it looked better the second time because he damn near swept the second half of the fight. He lost one round. From round 7 to 12, he lost one round, and that was round number, I think, 9. That was the round where he lost his concentration and kind of started walking the other way, and then Zhang Zhilei ran and punched him towards the end of the round. That was the only round he lost the whole second half of the fight. So to me, you're saying he needs to prove more. I think Filip Hrgović has proven more than a lot of heavyweights you guys like to hype up in the division with that fight. He proved that he can win a fight against a quality opponent when he's not at his best, and that's the mark of a good fighter. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Obviously, the next fight, he needs to show some improvement. What about Frank Martin against either De Los Santos or Michelle Rivera? Good fights. Frank Martin's an upcoming contender in the division, so I love that fight. I think him versus Michelle Rivera would be most ideal. I would like to see De Los Santos. Let me see. Who could De Los Santos fight? I don't know who De Los Santos could fight, but I like to see De Los Santos get, a nice little step up and then get a big fight. What happened with Frank Martin and Chris Colbert? I don't know. There's been no sort of progress on that from what I've heard. Rico, he is good. He is good. Had a few lives last week or 2 weeks ago. Let me see. Philip versus Ortiz. Luis Ortiz? I mean, that'd be a good fight. He wouldn't get any credit for beating him, but it'd be a good fight. He says, man, you talk about Filip Hrgović a lot, but you don't mention your fellow Cuban, Orestes Velasquez. He's done a lot in 5 fights. He has. And you're right, Jairo. I haven't talked a lot about Orestes Velasquez, and you're right, Jairo. That's why I keep you around, because sometimes, Jairo, I need people like yourself who follow boxing to let me know what fighters I should be talking about, and so you're right. Orestes Velasquez, he had a great win earlier this year, a fight that I know you really enjoyed when he beat up and exposed, Abraham Martinez and took his O. So yeah, you know, Restless Velasquez doing a lot, you know, doing this thing. I like him. BT Floyd Mayweather signed the next Tank Davis, Carmel Moten, the 14-year-old boxing phenom. Yeah, I had a chance to actually watch Carmel Moten when I was out there in Cleveland earlier this year with Sean Porter for the Eastern qualifiers. Because for those that know, for those that don't know, your boy BT, Brendan Taylor, you know, in association with Sean Tatel, Fight Hype, in association with the former two-time champion himself, Sean Porter, we're all coming together and we're all starting a website dedicated to covering a website and app dedicated to covering amateur boxing called the ABC, which is short for Amateur Boxing Champions. Sean Porter actually texted me today, like literally like 2 hours ago, and he said that October 3rd through the 5th, me, him, Sean Tatel, we're all going to be out there in Colorado Springs getting content for the app and interviewing the fighters. So stay tuned for that. We're finally going to get the ball rolling with this thing. But I say all that to say that yeah, I saw Canelo fight when I was out there in Cleveland. Really good fighter. He's someone that really stands out. I mean, he's an amateur still, but he doesn't have an amateur style. Very, very aggressive. You know, fights with an intent to hurt you and get you out of there. You know, very, very slick. Very, very just well-rounded and looks to have a very bright future on his hands. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Carmel Moten Jr. And if you guys aren't familiar with Carmel Moten Jr., go check out my video that I did on him of his fight when he fought in Ohio. At first, I thought Isaac Cruz was kind of overrated like you think he is, but he is just so awkward and punches hard when he's able to unload on the guy. He gets to take a good shot too. Well, I don't think Isaac Cruz is bad. I think he's a top contender. I just think where I have a problem with Isaac Cruz is I think what I have a problem with Isaac Cruz is when people say that, you know, like Ryan Garcia can't beat him, or that Ryan Garcia is scared. Ryan Garcia ain't scared of that dude. I think Ryan Garcia will knock the fuck out of Isaac Cruz. And I want to see that fight. I really want to see that fight happen so Ryan Garcia can prove me right. Because I'm sick of everybody saying that Ryan Garcia is not that good. Or that he's a C-class fighter, which is the most disrespectful thing you could say. You could say you think he's overrated, but to say that C-class fighter is a whole separate topic on its own. So I want that fight to happen. That's one of the top 10 fights I want to happen in 2023. James Valdez said, "How did you get on the Boxing Voice? Help me get to find your channel. Good content, brother." That's a good question. I got on the Boxing Voice because your boy BT is a YouTube veteran. You know, I've been around YouTube for a long time. A lot of people in boxing know who I am. Ness knows who I am. And the producer of the show, shout out to Brandon Lentz. The producer of the show, Brandon Lentz, he watches these lives. So he's the one who invited me on. I told him I would come on, and I went. And whenever I go to Vegas again, I'll probably go there again because I had a lot of fun there, and it was a great time. It was a great time on the Boxing Boys. I really enjoyed it. Why do you say exposed when a fight loses, bro? That's kind of not fair. Well, I don't really say that a lot. I only say exposed when it comes to Canelo, and then that's just for fun. You know, the word exposed is very overused. I'm trying to actually use it a little bit less because I've been overusing it a lot over the last 3 months or so. But yeah, no, exposed is an overused word. I think exposed is when a fighter is said to be a certain thing and he really just gets fucking killed by somebody he's not supposed to get destroyed by, then that's exposed. Like Rob Valenzuela did get exposed. Like that was exposed. Because if you'd watched Rob Valenzuela in the fights before, he's shown good power. He's shown good technical skills as far as being a volume puncher, but he also showed some leaky defense. Go watch the Austin Dulé fight. Edwin De Los Santos just capitalized out of all the mistakes and the chinks in the armor he had, so he did get exposed. But yeah, you're right. I should stop using that word. I should use that word a little bit less, and I will. But just don't expect Canelo's name to not be before the word exposed because it's fun. It's fun to say. I think, let me see. Canelo did get exposed by Bivol. He did. He did get exposed by him. Absolutely he did. There's nothing wrong with saying it, but it's just about overusing the word. Overusing the word is where it gets crazy. Let me see. I'm gonna get out of here in a second, guys, but I'm gonna take a couple more questions because I'm not trying to make this one a long live today. I just wanted to I kind of wanted to make this just do a live just to knock the cobwebs off, because this is the first live that's been on this channel since my dad went live for Luis Ortiz versus Andy Uriz. So I kind of want to just dust the cobwebs off, and we'll do more as we progress. And plus, I have to go to a boxing gym here in Homestead, where I live, to interview some amateurs. So I'm going to go do that here in a little bit at the top of the hour. That's right. Exposed. Talk to him, H-Money. Talk to him. Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Why did Ryo getting an upset loss feel so weird, though? Well, because you didn't know who Edwin De Los Santos was. Very few people in boxing did. He came in out of nowhere. He really just came to... he was pretty much there to make up the numbers. He was supposed to be a guy that Ryo beat up on. That's why they picked him. They didn't pick him because they wanted to get Ryo knocked out. They picked him because they thought Ryo was going to beat him. But they picked wrong. They picked wrong, and it backfired. So now Ryo's got to rebuild himself. And we're going to see now, does Ryo have the heart to overcome a loss and still become all the things people said he'd become before that? Chris Colbert, too, even though I like him. Yeah, I love Chris Colbert. I've been a Chris Colbert fan since his early days when he fought Titus Williams in New York City on the Deontay Wilder Romain Stavern rematch undercard. Love Chris Colbert. Had a lot of time for him. But Chris Colbert got exposed too. This is a guy that, I'm not going to say much about, what I saw from him in sparring, because I did get a chance to watch him spar once before the fight. But, his bad training habits got exposed. His lack of – a lot of things got exposed in that fight. So, hopefully he's learned from that, and he'll come back better in the next fight. You see, no, thank you, Michael. People like you, I want to take some time to give my man Michael Manning some appreciation, because people like Michael, who literally every video I make, it's crazy. I don't know how he watches all my videos, because I watch a lot. I make a lot of videos, but I swear to God, not a video goes by where I don't see Michael Manning in that comment section. So people like you, I want to let you know, Michael, if I haven't already, people like you give me that motivation to keep going, even when I don't want to. So I really appreciate you. Thank you. Who will expose Devin Haney? That's a great question. It's going to be very hard to expose a guy like Devin Haney. Devin Haney's a really good fighter. But if I had to pick a guy that will expose him, Shakur Stevenson. I'm going to go with Shakur Stevenson. But I don't want to use that kind of word, because I don't feel like even if Shakur beats Devin, I don't think he's gonna beat him like lopsided. I think it'll be a close fight. But yeah, if we're going to throw that word around and you ask me the question, I'm going to say Shakur. Well, BC Ramirez is fighting on Lomo's undercard. Is Magdaleno any good? He's fighting Jesse? Yeah, Jesse Magdaleno is good. Jesse Magdaleno was former world champion. Good fighter. But shout out to everybody here. It's your boy BT, the untouchable, True School Sports Empire. My man Hyro, I know Hyro and a lot of people in boxing. He says fights like Anson Gibb versus Austin McFroom is what ignites the fire in boxing. That fight was like Jose Cepeda versus Brock Lesnar. Just so you guys know, Hyro refers to Ivan Baranchyk as Brock Lesnar, because he kind of does look like Brock Lesnar. Listen, I didn't watch that card because I really don't want to follow the influencer boxing. I really don't care for it. But I saw some highlights. It looked like a really good fight. Shout out to Gibb, who's come out. He's come a long way since getting knocked the fuck out by Jake Paul 2 years ago. So I give him credit. He's been in the gym, dedicating himself. But just don't ask me to get excited about Gibb and these guys. We are few and far between, so I need to show the love to the highest of boxing. But hey, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. Do you think he may upset Ramirez, Magdaleno? I haven't watched him fight in a while. I can't even tell you the last time I saw him fight, and I don't remember who he fought last. So I'd have to go back and watch some film of his last few fights just to refresh myself. But he's a good fighter. I would have put it past him. But Robisi Ramirez, he really seems like he's figured himself out in the pros. He's figured himself out as far as finding out what his style is in professional boxing. And he's going to be a hard guy to beat, in in his weight class. Well, I think what that's featherweight, right? 126. So at featherweight, he'll be a tough out for anybody. But shout out to everybody here. Listen, on that note, guys, look, I'm gonna get out of here because I have to go to the gym right around the corner. From where I live to get some interviews with some local people here in Homestead. I didn't even know that Homestead had boxing gym, so it's good now. I can just be at home every now and then and go to the gym around the corner and get some content and come home and chill. But yeah, expect interviews soon. Expect some interviews. Expect that world-class boxing content. There's plenty of videos scheduled. Now I'm gonna go work on getting some interviews and giving you guys the content that you guys like. And we'll be live again, hopefully tomorrow, but I'm not making no promises. But yeah, on that note, Golovkin Canelo is this weekend. We will have a live fight reaction extravaganza for that fight, so make sure you tune in with us and have fun with us. And yeah, on that note, take care, guys. God bless. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.